Hi folks, this is Karim Rauf for IT Visualizer channel. Today we will begin our 18th lab. Today we will begin or we will discuss installing the Pfsense Firewall. This is open source firewall. Contains a lot of features and as I said before, it is an open source. It contains a lot of features, netting features, port forwarding features. Uh, Everything we need from a basic firewall, even from advanced firewall features. We will use it in our lab to discuss what we can do with it. There is a lot of features, as I said before. There is a feature called guest portal or captive portal, and a lot of features. We will discuss it one by one. And actually, as I said before, it's an open source, and it's basically does what any advanced firewall does. For example, if you are using FortiGate or you are using Sophos, I think, and this is also been trusted by some of enterprises use it, is as I said before, it's mostly used by some enterprises, but actually because it is an open source, so maybe the support issue is the basic problem here. So most companies or enterprises goes to using something like FortiGate and Sophos for their support. Okay. But today, all I need from this open source firewall is to basically see how we can use a firewall and configure it to use it in our production environment. And mostly, as I said before, this does what most firewalls do, so it will be a good example for anyone who does want to use FortiGate or Sophos in their production environment and see how or the features that they can use. As Pfsense does most of the features, as I said before, done by paid firewall solutions like FortiGate and Sophos. So let's begin here. If you want to, we will have to go to pfsense.org to download. Here to go to download feature, and then this is the latest version, and we will select the architecture for our production or our lab environment. It is 64-bit, and we will install it or give it as an ISO image because this will install it on a virtual machine, so we need to get the ISO image. Okay, and then download. After downloading, you will get this. I have already downloaded before. Here is the Pfsense. It will be installed here, or it is as a zip file. It's called d.gz. You can extract it by 7-zip. This is also a free extractor. Here is also, if you don't have it, you can go to 7-zip.org. Okay, and also install the 64-bit. This will extract the .gz extension. So after you extract this file, you will get this ISO image. Okay, so we need to put this ISO image or attach it to a virtual machine and begin installation normally as we did before in the previous videos for installing Windows or Windows 10 or Windows Server on a virtual machine. Before installing or beginning installing this firewall OS, okay, we need to have two things before that. We need first to make sure that this firewall, okay, will have two network cards, one for the LAN and one for the WAN. What we mean by the LAN? LAN is local area network, which is the interface or the network card that will communicate with the local network, which is our servers, our workstations, and blah blah blah, etc. And for the other network card, it will be for the WAN. This is the network card that will be on the internet. Okay, so every firewall basically have these two interfaces, one for the LAN and one for the WAN. WAN is for wide area network. Okay, so basically when you have these two network cards installed on this firewall, when we first install this Pfsense, it automatically makes a rule to forward all of the traffic network, all of the LAN local area network traffic, if you want to get to the internet, to the second network card to get to the internet, for the WAN network card to get to internet. We will see that when we begin installing the firewall and see how this will be configured, but first of all we need to have two network cards for this virtual machine, and one will be on the internet and one will be on our local area network. So for the WAN or for the network card that will be on the internet, we need to make a little setting. We will go to the edit and virtual network card. Here we'll have this called this is my network. It's called VMnet4. This is the one that will get to the internet or will be on out to the internet. This is basically if someone worked with the Hyper-V solution. This is an called external switch. This is uh, this is the network that will get to the internet, out to the internet. So how we configure it? We will just make it as a bridge. We will just click here on this one and change setting. We'll make a new network and tell it to be VM. We will choose the name of the network, and then when we will ask for the setting, we will make it here. This one will make it as a bridge. What means by bridge? Bridge here, it will take it will share the internet connection with your host uh, host PC. For example, uh, if for example you take an IP for 192 here, if you can see that we call ipconfig /all. Here my IP address is 1.3, okay, and my router is 1.1. Basically what the bridge does, it will get IP address from this from my router, okay, just as my host does. For example, if I am having now 192.168.1.3, the bridge will take 4 or 5 or 6. Basically that is done by the VM Workstation Pro setting just to get it to the internet. So what we will do, we will make a new network, add network, okay, and then we will choose the name, any one of them, okay, and then we will click on bridge, and then you will see which network card you are using it. He will make bridge on. For example, I'm using my Wi-Fi, so okay, you will bridge. If you have local area network or you have a wired network, you can choose the network card you need. Here we'll make it on the wireless and it will be bridged, okay. So this is the first thing to do, and then we have our local area, which is VMnet1. This is the one for our servers or workstations. We have done this before when for my first video for the Transformers lab. This is our local area network and this is our WAN network, okay. And then we will begin attaching this to network adapters to the new virtual machine. We'll see this how this is done in a moment. So let's begin our video. I just need to make sure that all of you understand what we will do before installing this firewall. We will go to the downloads and install or get the 64-bit and extract it, and then we'll begin creating our virtual machine. We'll see that now in a moment. Here we'll create a virtual machine. Okay, next. And then first of all we can get a little moment here. Next. So here the firewall Pfsense is basically based on an OS called FreeBSD version 10 and later version 10 and earlier 64, but here we will choose the operating system to be this FreeBSD version 10 and earlier 64-bit. This is the version of the Pfsense Firewall OS operating system, okay. This is like Windows, like Linux. This is a system called FreeBSD version 10. So we'll choose this from the list of operating systems and then tell him next. Here we'll give it a name of Pfsense. next, and here we will get the maximum hard disk of 20 gigs. Okay, this is uh, for this is enough, and then we will choose the two network cards. VM4, this is the WAN network card. Okay, and then we will choose another network card will be for the LAN. So we have two VM4, which is our bridged network card. Okay, and the other is for the LAN, which will be VM network 1, and he will give a RAM of 1 gig. It's 256 megabytes, which I give it more, and then we will choose the ISO, the one that we have downloaded before, and open, and then close, and then finish, and then we'll power on the virtual machine. I think I have paused the video. Okay, we will power the virtual machine. It is just checking the configuration, the WAN and the LAN, the two network cards, and we will begin installing the operating system for this firewall. As I said before, it's FreeBSD. This is the name of the operating system. It's version 10. Here it will accept the license agreement, accept, install, the key, the keyboard, and the system. It's called UFS. We will just accept all the default uh, configuration, the default setting. We will accept it as it is, and then we will next, and then install. Don't change any setting. We will accept the default setting. It's basically a very small system. And tell him yes to reboot the system. The next step is to configure or to tell the firewall which network card is the WAN, or this card will get to the internet, and which is the LAN that will be for our internal network. This will be done through the command prompt. We'll see this in a moment. So how we can know where is the network card that is connected to the WAN and which is the network card is connected to the LAN? Through the MAC address. Okay. So how can we know the MAC address for each network card? We can see this from the, in a moment I will show you. If the video doesn't display this, I will show you how this can be done. How can we know which network card is connected to which network? For example, here he got automatic IP address, the WAN EM01, EM1. He put IP addresses automatically. I needed to be manually configured. So we will tell him first interface number 1, assign interfaces. We need to know, or to tell him which is the network card on the LAN and which network card is on the WAN. Okay, so here we will go to the network card VM4 and then advanced setting. Here is the MAC address is 6364. This is the MAC address for the WAN, and 636E for the LAN. So here EM01 it is for the WAN because it contains 6364. So we tell him we don't know VLANs, and here we will assign and tell him that EM0 it is the WAN interface. Okay, and the other EM1 it is for the LAN interface. Okay, we can get this for a moment. Get back. Here we will choose as 1, and then how to get the MAC address. Okay, this is the two network cards. Which one is connected to the internet and which one connected to the local network? Here we will get it from the VM setting for this virtual machine, VM setting, and then we get to the network card and then advance. Here is the MAC address for the WAN. Okay, it's 6364. This is the network card MAC address, and this is for the LAN. It's 636E. Okay, so basically here it's EM0. This is the WAN. It's contains 6364, and EM01. It is for the LAN 6E. He's telling me you don't need VLANs. I don't need VLANs. EM01 is for the WAN. I am telling him that EM0 it is the WAN interface, and EM1 is the LAN interface. So now we have already assigned the interfaces to the right network cards. Each one of them is the correct one. So after we assign the right network card to the right network, okay, one for the WAN, one for the LAN, then we will need to assign IP addresses to these two network cards. Okay, for the WAN I will take it automatically. I will not put a static IP for the WAN interface. I will only make static IP for the LAN interface. Okay, so I get to the LAN and I put 192.168.2.10. This is the local IP address for the firewall. As for the WAN interface, I tell him the subnet mask it's 24, and then I tell him this is here is the problem. Guys, let's see this. When you configure the LAN interface, okay, you put an IP address, okay, and put the network mask, and here the gateway, you shouldn't put a gateway, because this gateway should be the WAN interface, okay, because he will get to the internet through the WAN. So here is the problem. When I put an IP address for the LAN network to be the same IP, I got a problem, so I didn't get out to the internet. We will see that when we complete the configuration. To get this bypass this problem, we will leave the IP address for the gateway for the LAN network blank. We don't have to put anything. As for the IP version 6, we will not work with the IP version 6. So here as for the one, as I said, we will give it an automatic IP. For the WAN interface, we leave it will take an IP from the router, from my host router. And as for the LAN, I will put a static IP address, as I said before, 192.168.2.10. But we will not, again, I strictly say, don't put any LAN gateway, because your gateway will be the WAN interface. And we will see that in the video. I had a problem, and then I figured out that I don't need to put a gateway address here. So now it's telling me that the web configurator, this is configuring the servers for using the firewall through the web interface. We will see that in a moment. We can access the firewall through the browser. He's basically saying that if you need to configure working with the web interface or through the browser through HTTP or through HTTPS, I tell him I need for security to use the HTTPS. Okay, so we will work now. Now we have configured the IP address for the WAN and for the LAN interface. Now we need to complete the configuration, but we'll complete the configuration through the browser. As you see before, here I am opening my browser. We'll put the IP address. It's 192.1. Yes, here it's not secured connection. We tell him to proceed. Here the default user is admin and the password is Pfsense, all small letters. Okay, so here we will complete the configuration through this wizard. Okay, next. Here we will give it a name for the firewall. Host name will be Pfsense and the domain will be transformers.local. Okay, and here we will put the primary DNS 8.8.8.8. This is for Google, and 8.8.4.4. Here there is an option, if you can see it. One moment. Here, there is an option that says, here it says allow DNS servers to be overridden by DHCP PPP on WAN. If, for example, you have your router or your internet or WAN interface has DNS, he will take the DNS servers from this WAN interface. But basically, I am putting both. If you don't want your DNS to be taken from the WAN interface, you can put it on you can define this DNS server by yourself. But basically we'll put 2, the DNS for Google, and if he doesn't take the DNS server from the WAN interface, we will have our DNS configured and specified for him. Okay, and next, and then this is for the time zone and for the time server host name. This is for NTP, or as he said, this is for the time server information, time server, and we have put the time zone, and this is the WAN interface. We have done this before through the interface of the command prompt, but here we need to see these 2 options. Here it says that block private networks from entering WAN. These 2 should be unchecked because our LAN is taking the private IP address, which is 9192.168/24. So if this is checked, he will block our LAN interface or our local area network PC and servers from getting out to the internet. So we need to uncheck this, block private networks from entering via WLAN, and block non-internet routed networks from entering via LAN. If you leave these 2 checked, you will block your local area network PCs and servers from accessing the internet. So you need to uncheck both. And this is done through the DHCP. As I said before, we will leave the WAN interface to take its IP address from the router, and this is the LAN interface, which is 9192.168.2.10, and we will change the admin password from Pfsense to any other password. This is a recommended or best practice. You don't leave the password as it is. And then next, and then reload. Here, as I said before, you need to make sure that the LAN interface doesn't have a gateway. It will take its gateway from the WAN interface. We will see that in a moment. Here we have already finished the configuration. Here the problem will arise when I tell him to check the updates. He will not get any updates because, as I said before, I have put on the LAN interface not a correct gateway. I have put the gateway for the LAN interface to be 192.168.2.10 itself. For example, the LAN it will be redirect all of the LAN network to be to the gateway 192.168.2.10. This is not correct. It should be 192.168.1.9 or 10 or whatsoever. This is the WAN interface. I have put my gateway for the LAN to be 192.168.2.10, which is the LAN interface. We need the gateway to be the WAN interface, which will be 192.168.1.19 or point whatsoever. So here we'll find the problem. It will not go to the internet. I just need to fast forward it. Okay. Here I'm making sure that, just a moment. Here we will go to the, okay. Here I said before, here we are not getting to the internet because the gateway is not correct. So how to change the LAN interface gateway to point to the WAN interface? Okay, here we see that the default gateway here is not correct. He's saying that all of the WAN and the LAN will go to the LAN interface to be this one. This is the default gateway, which is not correct. We need the gateway to be on this one, DHCP. We need the default gateway for all of the IP version 4 addresses to be to the WAN DHCP. So we will change it now. The default gateway is not correct. We will change it. So this was the problem. First of all, we need the DHCP to be the default gateway. This is the one. And then we need to change the gateway. Here, as you see before, that the gateway is not correct. We need to change this. Here, as you see before, that the LAN interface should not have a gateway. The gateway for this LAN should be 1.1. Okay, not this. The LAN interface again should have a gateway of 1.1, not 2.10. So first of all, there was two problems. First of all, the default gateway for all of the LAN network was the LAN network itself, which was not correct. We need to make the gateway to be the WAN DHCP, which will be this one. The IP need all of the LAN network to have this gateway. So we will tell him default gateway to be WAN DHCP and to get off this gateway from the LAN setting. We'll see that now in a moment. So after configuring the firewall, we need to check the updates, as I said before, just to make sure that everything is up to date. Now it is getting to the internet. Now we will add some to the dashboard. We will add some things, for example, the gateway interface, and we will add the service status. This is the services status also for the firewall, and the firewall logs. All of this will appear on the dashboard. Interface statistics, all of this are information for our firewall. Here, as we see, this is the interfaces up and running, and this is the gateways, say which one is online or offline, and this is the firewall logs, and this is the interface packages. Here we will try to update the firewall. When we changed the gateway configuration, now it is connected to the internet, and we will do a small test. We will try to ping something like Google and ping. If it is pinging, then we are getting to the internet. Yes, it is successful, so we will get to the internet. So as I said before, the problem was that the default gateway was the LAN, not the WAN interface, so the firewall wasn't getting out to the internet. After changing the default gateway to be the WAN interface, now it's getting to the internet, but there is a problem. As I said before, the LAN interface gateway is configured not correctly. It is gateway on itself, so we need to change the gateway from 210 to 11. So now the firewall is up and running, and we are making update to the operating system of the firewall. Here we can see that there is automatically the Pfsense make a netting rule or a forwarding rule, as I said before, to forward all the traffic from the LAN to the WAN and then make netting. This is all done automatically without interfering from the user side. So as we all know, to get to the internet, the private IP address need to be changed to a public IP address. So this is done automatically by the firewall. He knows when you configure the WAN and the LAN, he makes an automatic netting rule to net these private IP addresses to be public IP addresses. Okay, so now the firewall is up and running, but we need to test it on the servers and workstations. So here we will now see we have to go to our transformers domain and put the default gateway to be 192.168.2.10. This is our firewall LAN interface. So when the server or the workstation goes to the firewall LAN interface, it will redirect it to access the internet to the WAN firewall interface to get out to the internet. So we need to put the gateway of the LAN interface for the firewall to be the gateway for all of our local area network servers and workstations. So I'm just making sure that just need to bypass this list done before. This is Bridget. Okay. So now we have to go to the two domain controllers because we have static IP address for both. So we need to go to the two domain controllers and put the gateway to be our local interface for our firewall, which will be 192.168.2.10. Let's bypass this. Okay. So now first of all we need to, I'm making a small test. I will ping the firewall local interface, local area interface, which is 12. This is the WAN. I am pinging the WAN interface. It's working, so I can ping the firewall WAN interface, and then here I'm trying to get to the internet, but I can't because still I didn't put the gateway in the internet in the network connection setting for the firewall. So I am not getting to the internet. I will try to ping the firewall local area or local area interface for the firewall. Now I can get to 210 and 112. This is for the WAN. I can't get to the internet. I can bypass all of this. Sorry. I'm just checking the firewall is closed. I was troubleshooting to see why don't I get to the internet. And I see now we get to the network setting for the server and see if I have here for the properties. I will have to go and put the gateway to be the firewall local area interface. Here for the properties, here it's 210. We can see here that I have put the firewall local area interface. Here I just put this one, don't need to put here this one, sorry. We'll bypass this. Okay, we need not to change all of this. Okay, just pass all of this for you. Okay, so here as I said before, I was not getting to the internet because I have mistakenly put, when configuring the firewall, the LAN interface gateway to be itself. For example, the LAN interface is for the firewall is 192.168.2.10. I told him that the gateway for your LAN for the firewall LAN interface to be the same, 192.168.2.10. This was not correct. I need to change the setting on the firewall, so I set the local area network gateway to be the WAN, which is one IP address, which is 192.168.1.12. So I need to change this from the firewall. Here I will connect to the firewall. Okay, and I think I need to change the LAN setting. Just a minute. What I was doing, no, can pass all of this, so this is also not correct. This is for the LAN. Sorry. I need to pass all of this one. Sorry, I need to pass all of this. Sorry. Mhm. So here we will show you something, the setting that we need to change so we can uh, enable the servers to get to the internet. I'll just power on the virtual machine for the firewall. I will show you how to fix the problem. We wasn't able to get into the internet because we have, as I said before, we were putting the wrong gateway for our local area network to get to the internet. We need to put the WAN IP address to get to the internet. So here I will show you how we will change the setting. Sorry, the firewall is still booting. So here we have the firewall run. Now we will go. Here we will go to the firewall. Okay, here is the firewall. And advance and then proceed. Here we will go to the password. So here, as we can see now, to fix the problem for not getting to the internet, we need to make here the upstream for the LAN. We need the gateway to be none. For the LAN interface, we need it to be none. Okay, this will automatically direct all of the local area network to the WAN interface to get out to the internet. Okay, so I will get out. This is to solve the problem for the getting out to the internet. I will just start off the firewall, shut down. Okay, let me have a look. So here, folks, we have a little thing after we have done add the setting of the firewall or the gateway on the servers. We need to tell the DHCP. Okay, here for a moment. Sorry. We need here in the scope options in the DHCP for the workstations. As for the server, as I said before, it is static. We will have to open the network connection and put the gateway manually. For the firewall LAN interface, which will be 192.168.2.10. As for the clients or for the workstations, we will go to the DHCP and scope options and tell him that our router or our gateway for the internet will be 192.168.2.10. This will automatically deliver the gateway to all of the workstations so it can get to the internet. This is basically what we will do. Okay, and here we will make another thing. we will tell the DNS, or we will put in the DNS setting that to forward or to put the Google and Google DNS servers for resolving, or for DNS resolving for the internet. Okay, we'll have to, this is the Google DNS, two DNSs. We put it on the DNS for our server, so the clients, if the DNS can't resolve anything, the local, we can get to the internet through these DNSs. Okay, we tell this again. Here we'll put, no, just a minute. Here there is another thing. After, as we said before, we are getting the firewall to push to get us to the internet. We will add in the DNS in the forward section. Okay, what is basically done, it when we, for example, ping Google, when it tries to resolve Google through DNS and don't find it, okay, he will go to external DNS, which will be Google, to resolve this name. So we put it in the DNS setting, and this is an important one. Okay, properties and then forwards, we have to put these two IP addresses in the DNS setting, so the client or the server can get to the internet. Okay, actually the firewall have a DNS, okay, but we need also to add these two DNSs for Google, so also our clients can access the internet. This is an important one. Okay, so we will put the DHCP scope options, the firewall gateway, LAN gateway, and on the DNS we'll put Google's DNS servers. And as I said before, when the client reaches the firewall LAN interface, it will route him to the WAN interface to get to the internet. So that's all, folks. Until the next video, we'll begin another video for how to integrate the firewall with the Active Directory. Okay, thank you so much.